Hi, my name is Henry Henniger, and I'm the trombone professor at the University of Oregon. I'd like to give you some helpful tips as you prepare for the Alt Northwest Wind Ensemble audition. All right, this first tip is for the chromatic scale. All chromatic scales need to be in time, in this case at 72, as marked. Have great sound from top to bottom. So in this case, from low F up to high B flat, or in the case of bass trombone, from your low F to F above the bass clef staff. And to have great intonation. There are times that we will hear students play chromatic scales where they will speed up all of a sudden, or maybe they'll slow down all of a sudden at the end of the scale and speed up as they go to the top. You want to try to avoid that and practice this many times with the metronome on so you get very comfortable with hearing yourself playing at a nice, steady tempo. Practice also having your tuner with you so that way you can start to identify maybe where you have some problem notes or problem areas with your intonation. For many trombone players, this is going to be F, F sharp, G sharp, all above the bass clef staff. Those notes are kind of notorious for us. So you want to, do some practice ahead of time in figuring out where those notes sit on the slide. The last thing I'll say about the chromatic scale is that it should sound beautiful from top to bottom. You want to showcase your best sound and the most even sound you can from your low range up to your high range. So as you record this, listen back for those things. Make sure that you hear a beautiful sound and a very musical approach to your chromatic scale. All right, this is tip number 2 for excerpt number 2, which is pick your tempo where you can play it with the best quality possible. If you look on the page, it gives you an option of playing it from 88 for the quarter note to 96. Don't pick just the fastest and thinking that it needs to be fast. Really what you want to showcase is the best quality of articulation possible while still maintaining great sound, great efficiency as you play. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is make sure that you don't speed up or slow down as you play through this. So have your metronome out as you play this many, many times so that becomes just a regular thing that you are used to hearing yourself play without having those wavering tempos. The use of alternates, this can be tip number 3, is also really handy here. I find in measure 18, the use of a fourth position D natural to be very helpful for me. If you find that that also works for you, then great. Just make sure as you use it that you're also playing that D natural in tune in fourth position. Always, with any excerpt, you're trying to also showcase musicality. So make sure at the end of the day, when you play this, that it doesn't just sound like a technical exercise, but it still maintains musical quality. number 3 for excerpt number 3, the Galliard. I found this excerpt to be the most fun to play, and I hope that you do too. This particular excerpts really showcase sound and legato sound and playing lyrically. The player here can really demonstrate a high efficiency for just gorgeous singing sound as you play through these phrases. You will need to make sure that you take a little bit of time ahead of your practice just to make sure that you understand those rhythms. It can be tricky at times when you see that the 8th note is getting the beat here and not the quarter. So don't let that get you. I find it also very, very helpful to listen to recordings of bassoon players playing this, of which I found many on YouTube that you can reference. I think the use of vibrato is also really helpful here in helping it to sound soloistic as you play through this gorgeous melody. Okay, this is about the Telemann excerpt number 4. This particular piece is a very fun piece to play also. It really showcases light playing for the trombonist. And so articulations are paramount. You really want to be able to demonstrate with a high degree of skill level of playing slurred and staccato. And in some cases, it's very quick. You might notice that there's a lot of slur markings and then maybe one note that's only marked with a staccato or marked with no slur. Any note that is not marked with a slur, you want to play staccato. So you can really showcase that contrast between those articulations. Another great thing to add to this is your dynamic contrast. That will also keep the spirit up when you hear something that really does sound piano and is still nice and light, very crisp with articulation, and then go to forte as it shows later on. Finding a quality tempo, like the Arbans earlier, is also very highly recommended. If you notice on the page, it says 120 to 132 for the quarter note. Find a tempo in there where you can play this successfully and with your best sound and best quality of articulation. Don't always think that it has to go at the fastest tempo that is marked. In some cases, in many cases, you might find that you'll have a much better presentation for your audition if you're a couple clicks slower and the piece sounds exciting and fun and not frantic and like it's coming off the rails. So I hope you enjoy working on this piece. This is very fun for any trombone player with a lot of great challenge.